A slave's body falls into the water on Mauritius Island in 1759. She begs her husband Masamba to never give up and save their people as she drowns. The next day, Masamba and the other slaves in his group continue to work on Eugene's farm. Eugene tells Masamba to keep an eye on things and make sure no one is slacking off since harvest is almost over. He also calls him Cicero instead of his real name. Another slave thinks he is a rogue because of this. Masamba helps his daughter Maddie learn to read and write more that night. In the middle of the lesson, Maddie tells the teacher that her friend Ruba showed her a way to get to Fabumi, a town where all trapped slaves hide. Masamba tells her she can't run away because Fabumi is only a story. It becomes clearer that they might be in danger when they see a guard taking a slave outside. Eugene and his guards catch another slave who is trying to get away the next morning. They burn her back to mark her with a lily flower, since this was her first time. Tongues and ears will be cut off if she tries again. As this warning is read to the other slaves, Masamba has to explain it. At the same time, a man loses his ears. Eugene then tells Masamba to remind everyone that if they try to run a third time, they will die. Maswa finds Maddie having a panic attack in the middle of the night. One of the guards had abused her. As she starts to feel better, he gives her a tight hug and prays with her. After that, Maddie tells them they need to kill all of their masters and run, saying that the other slaves will follow him as a leader. Masamba still says no and calls, which she doesn't like. Maddie doesn't want to give up her culture, but Masamba is more interested in her future. She thinks that if she fits in with the colonizers, she can get a job as a seamstress far from the farm. While Masamba was there, Eugene was having dinner with some very important people at the main house. Masamba can speak both English and Swahili, and the governor wants him to help him understand the slaves. He asks if black people should be freed, but Masamba tells him that black people are only here to serve because he is afraid. When Masamba stands up to talk, the governor gets angry, and Eugene kicks him out right away. Eugene's son, says that he trained Masamba because he grew up on the farm and knew right away that some slaves were trying to get away. He learned from teaching Masamba that black people are also people. What does the governor say about Madame La Victoire? She is the one who hunts down runaway slaves and has the opposite view. There is a fight about how to treat slaves, and Eugene has to shut Honoré up to keep things from getting worse. The governor now thinks Eugene doesn't do a good job of running this area, though. Eugene hits Honoré because he spoke his annoying thoughts after the governor leaves. Then he calls Masamba to tell him that he is losing all of his rights. He's going to cut cane like everyone else, and he's leaving his daughter behind. Eugene will let Maddie stay with him, and if Masamba tries to leave, he will kill her. Maddie tries to delete herself when she hears this, but Masamba stops her and tells her to go to the house. After a few seconds, Masamba hears the dogs barking and yelling a lot. He runs outside right away and sees a guard on fire but no Maddie. Afterward, they send him back to his room and tell him that Maddie ran away. The guards tell Eugene the next morning that they couldn't find Maddie. Eugene tells them to call Madame La Victoire and then tells Honoré to join the hunt to clear up matters with the family. Hone has no choice but to agree, but he also asks his dad to be nicer to Maddie when he brings her back. Musa is then tied to the ground and beaten for a while to get him to talk, but he has no idea where Maddie went. At that very moment, Madame La Victoire shows up with her two boys, Joseph and Baptiste. Eugene offers him money, but she turns it down and asks how Maddie got away. Victoire tries to question Masamba by telling him that she will kill Maddie because she believes in justice, but Masamba keeps saying he doesn't know anything. After that, Maddie's friend Ruba is brought in. Since she is pregnant, they dig a hole in the ground for her and tie her up. They only have to hit her feet once before she tells them to stop. Maddie set out to find the Fabami village. Victoire has heard of the story before, so she goes right away with her sons and Honoré to begin the search. Dogs use Maddie's clothes to follow her scent through the house until Victoire finds footprints on the ground that show Maddie met someone and left with them. After a few hours, the group sees that there are no more tracks to follow, but they can still make out a hill in the distance. They decide to go to the top and wait for a while to see if anyone comes out of hiding. Finally, Masamba is back at the farm. He is locked up in a small cell and has a chain wrapped around his head. He begs Ruba to help him, but she doesn't listen. She throws food at the dogs to keep them quiet when everyone is done working. Later that night, Ruba sneaks around and gets Masamba out of the cell without being seen. She then quickly runs back to her room. Masamba can run through the field without being seen because the dogs are asleep. The next morning, Victoire's boys think Maddie is gone and that they are wasting time. But Victoire tells them to wait. While this was going on, Masamba got to the forest and stopped by the river to drink. It was hard to drink because of the mask, though. He hits the lock with a rock for a while and finally breaks it, letting him take off the mask. By putting trees in the sun so they cast shadows, he can figure out which way to go to keep looking for his daughter. At night, Victoire tells Honoré off for eating like a wild black man and makes all the boys pray. She says that God has always led her and helped her through the worst times. Honoré already knows her story. He knows she was abused as a child, married against her will as a youth, and was the first woman on the island to get a divorce. She is the only one on the island who knows how horrible things are for the slaves, so he thinks she should feel sorry for them. But Victoire says the church has shown that black people don't have souls. Hone can tell she has doubts, even though she doesn't think it's her place to question the church. Masamba thinks that his wife is with him at night. The next day, Victoire sees Masamba start to go up the hill. As he walks through the woods, he hears a noise and comes across a black man named Kabidi who shows him the way. There's also a black woman with a baby. The three of them hide from Victoire's group, who has gone into the woods to find them. Babies start crying at that very moment, and Baptiste hears them. The slaves have to run as fast as they can. They can't go very far, so Kabidi tells the mother to hide and gives Masamba one of his blades. Baptiste fires when he gets close enough, but the slaves avoid it, and Masamba is able to trip and knock Baptiste to the ground. Masamba tries to knock Baptiste out by hitting him, but Baptiste fights back. But Masamba stops moving when Honoré calls his name and tells him to give up. Then Kabidi comes out from behind Honoré and quickly cuts his throat, killing him. Kabidi hides after telling Masamba to do the same thing. Masamba looks at Baptiste but can't bring himself to do anything, so he also leaves. Masamba runs as fast as he can because Joseph is now after him. Suddenly, a black guy named Rado tackles him and helps him hide. Radio says he's looking for the Fabomi village, and the men keep going after Joseph goes. When they get to a cave, Rado gives them the little food he has left and a clean shirt while telling them the story behind his outfit. He used to fight for France, and they even made him a citizen. But when he got to this island, they burned his papers of freedom and tried to make him work as a slave. Victoire is taking care of Honoré's body at the same time. Baptiste says that the slaves saved him because they were good Christians, but his family doesn't like that way of putting it. Victoire prays for a long time every night. In the morning, she tells them that the Lord is watching over them and that they should keep hunting. But Baptiste doesn't want to go after the man who saved his life, so he'll take Honoré back to his dad instead. Joseph, who is mad, jumps on his brother and starts fighting with him on the ground. Victoire just stands there and looks. Baptiste finally beats his brother after a short fight, and he leaves the bush with Honoré's body. Soon after, Masamba is back on the move, this time to find his daughter by following tracks on the ground and in plants. Radio also tries to leave the cave, but Joseph shoots him in the leg to stop him. Then Joseph puts pressure on the wound while he and Victoire ask him about Masamba and Maddie. Victoire shoots Rado in the head because he won't talk and says this island is for black people. They look through the cave and find Masamba's old shirt. The dog can now follow his scent. In a short time, the dog finds Masamba crossing the river. It jumps to attack him, not realizing that there is a cliff behind them. Both of them fall into the lake below. Masamba swims as fast as he can, but the dog quickly catches up and bites his arm. Masamba gets a rock and slams the dog's head into the ground, making it scream in pain. Between the falls, Joseph and Victoire see Masamba run off into the woods. After that, Masamba stays in the forest for a few more hours, following any trail he can find. He has to rest and stop at some point because he's losing too much blood. Victoire and Joseph are still looking in the rain. When they see blood on a tree, it gives them the hint they need. That night, Masamba dreams about his wife again, and this time she gives him words of encouragement, her blessing, and her promise to lead him in the right direction. When Masamba gets to the beach the next day, he sees a lot of dead slaves on the ground and in the water. There is also a broken-down boat, which means they were unable to get to Madagascar because of the storm. He looks at everyone on the shore but can't find Maddie, so he goes back into the woods. He follows the strange sound and finds a few people who are still alive. He asks them about Maddie and then passes out in pain and tears. The guys help him get up and take him to a cave near the beach, where the women are hiding. This is where he finally finds Maddie. He runs to hug her, but she doesn't go crazy. Masamba then tells Maddie that he'll help her find Fabomi, which makes her smile and finally give him a hug. Victoire and Joseph also get to the beach and find all the bodies after Masamba and Maddie leave together. They keep hunting by following Masamba's footprints in the sand, which makes Maddie and Masamba hide. She tells Masamba that she's sick of lying and that they need to make a plan. Masamba does a traditional ceremony that night to make his promise to his wife even stronger and to ask for the strength to fight his enemies. As the moon moves around Masamba, he hears his wife's voice telling him that they are now one. Then it starts to rain. At the same time, Joseph and Victoire are camping out for the night. When Victoire hears a noise, she pushes Joseph to the ground just in time for a blade to attack from behind. The mother and son grab their weapons right away and start to stumble around aimlessly as they try to find the cause of the attack. Suddenly, Joseph hears a noise and fires, letting Masamba know where he is so he can quickly slash him with a blade and then hide again. Victoire runs to her son and stabs him because she can't stand how much pain he's in. After that, she hides behind a tree, but comes out when she sees Masamba standing nearby. Victoire sneaks around until she catches Masamba from behind and shoots him in the shoulder. The lightning helps her hide. She then takes out her knife to kill him, but he's gone by the time she looks up again. Victoire starts to pray out of fear, but Masamba comes from behind her and stabs her to death. Masamba dreams that night that his wife will show up in front of Eugene and kill him with a knife. Maddie has to wake her sleepy father up in the morning and help him walk because he is hurt. Masamba, on the other hand, is too dizzy and soon falls down again. Maddie breaks down and yells for help as she falls to her knees. A group of slaves who are also looking for Fabomi and who just got away from Eugene's farm notice this. When Maddie joins the group, the guys help her carry Masamba while they keep looking. They finally find the mythical town near the hills after being lost in the woods for hours. Right away, a healer makes an ointment and prays while putting it on all of Masamba's cuts. This helps Masamba get better and move around without pain again. That night, the people who live there welcome Masamba and Maddie and talk about how their cultures are different from each other. This is because many of the slaves were born on this island and not in Africa. Masamba talks about his home group and how his wife was killed on a ship carrying English colonists because she wouldn't be a slave. She also talks about some of the stories her mother used to tell her and how she was able to smile at her daughter before she died. Maddie sees her mother watching her from afar the next day while she's taking a swim in the lake. When people in the town see flames in the distance at night, they know that hunters are coming after them. People start running when the white men open fire, and they catch a few of the slaves. They try to cross a huge field, but a cliff blocks their way, letting the colonizers circle them. A man asks them to surround them and says that the governor has agreed to spare them. He does this through a slave. Masamba says he wants to live a free life without being controlled by anyone. This makes Maddie start singing a traditional song. Before they eliminate themselves, the people sing along. They choose the end over slavery. Thanks for watching. To see more movies like this, make sure you subscribe and set up alerts.